I see a light inside of you, so let it shine. It's time to spread your wings and fly. Reach for the sky. Get up, don't let nothing hold you. Get up right now, right now. Get up, don't let nobody tell you that you can't. There is greatness inside of you. You're the one that the world is waiting for. Every step you take, we go again. 'Cause we believe in you. Say one day you go make a one day, one day, one day. Don't let nothing push you down. Stand with the ground. Yes, we believe in you. Don't you give up on yourself till the world knows who you are. Keep on shining. Get up, don't let nothing hold you. Get up right now, right now. Get up, don't let nobody tell you that you can't. There is greatness inside of you. You're the one that the world is waiting for. Every step you take, we go there, 'cause we believe in you. Say one day you go make a one day, one day, one day. One day you'll be like the sun. Say one day you go shine.
Access, more than banking.
I'm tired of trying. I need help. I want to try IVF. I know it's expensive.
Are you struggling with a health challenge? Do you need financial help to access treatment? If yes,
Apply now for MHSS, the Maternal Health Service Support, a discounted loan by the W Initiative of Access Bank with low interest rates, no loan fees, flexible repayment plan. This is your best bet for financing your health needs. For more information, visit our website on www.vwcommunity.com or any Access Bank branch nationwide. You can also send an email to wcares@accessbankplc.com. Terms and conditions apply. The MHSS has successfully financed hundreds of health procedures.
the next one could be yours.
Omo Fauzi at the latest Alaja. This year Haji went on. I hope you pray for a shot because this year we must make plenty money.
And inshallah, this year we will all make plenty profit.
When your customers miss you, Sha, there's always someone checking on you.
I miss them too. At least it will justify all the charges I keep getting. It's too much walai.
Oh, Mama Fauziat, why do you keep stressing yourself? All you need is the right account for your business. We use the Access Bank's business account.
Tolu is right. I use Access Bank's DBA Classic account. And you see that monthly fixed charge? I love it. No hidden charges. I know how much I spend monthly on my business, which makes it easy to calculate my profit.
And I use the DBA Flex account. It is pay as you transact, and it is even discounted though.
So that means I can choose between Access Bank DBA Flex or DBA Classic depending on my type of business?
Exactly.
You people should be giving me these updates. I'll go to Access Bank tomorrow.
Running a business could be tough, but banking shouldn't be. Banks matter with our Access Bank DBA Classic or DBA Flex account, depending on your business needs. For more information, visit any of our Access Bank branches or send an email to welovesmes@accessbankplc.com. Because at Access Bank, we love SMEs.
Ada, you've been looking at your phone for the last 10 minutes. What's wrong?
I need money to grow my business, but every loan I get seems to have crazy interest rates and difficult repayment plan. I feel stuck.
I'm so sorry. So you mean I've not told you about the W initiative of Access Bank?
Oh, Access Bank. I've heard of them. But what is W initiative?
The W initiative is the home of everything Access Bank has to offer women. They offer monthly webinars, workshops, trainings, and they have a thriving online community. They even offer discounted loans to business women just like yourself.
Is it not like the normal loan we get everywhere?
No, the loan has very friendly terms with discounted interest rates and flexible repayment plans. They give loans to grow your business, to own a home, and to even finance health challenges.
Jane, you must be joking. How do I reach the W community?
I'm serious. Just check them out on social media at the W Community, or you can even visit their website www.thewcommunity.com. They have several opportunities for you.
Oh, my friend, thank you so much.
Now, imagine the impact we can make together if more women had access to these opportunities. We invite you to tell one woman about the W Community, who will tell another woman. Each one, bring one.
A new year ushers in fresh opportunities to dream bigger, reach further, and make impact that truly matters. This year at the W Community, we have a bold vision to position W as the #1 platform where women get inspired, connected, and empowered. To achieve this, we're launching a powerful campaign. Each one, bring one. It is a call to action and a step towards building a stronger, more inclusive network of women across Africa. We have seen real transformation of thousands of women who have taken advantage of the W valuable offerings. From the Women Perennial Pitch-a-thon programs, W loans, to our monthly webinars, the impact is undeniable. We are also breaking barriers by empowering women in male-dominated industries such as driving and mechanics. W is committed to bridging the gaps in finance, education, and technical skills, ensuring that women are leaders in their fields. We cannot achieve this mission alone. We need you to organically grow the W community with us. You have experienced the value of W. Now it's time to pay it forward. Think about the women in your life, your colleagues, sisters, friends, and the women in your local community who need to be empowered. Tell them about W. We're not just talking. We're actively spreading the word about the W community through our roadshows, our newly launched website, and valuable opportunities we offer. Be a part of this movement. Each one, bring one. Because when one woman rises, we all rise.
Where my Zoom do?
Wonderful afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us on another edition of the W webinar series powered by the W initiative of Access Bank. It is always a pleasure to bring you inspiring and impacting sessions such as this. And today is exceptionally special for us as we join the world to celebrate the Women Entrepreneurship Day, a day dedicated to celebrating women with excellent entrepreneurship spirit, such as yourself. And so for every woman in business on this call today, we see you, we celebrate you, and we are rooting for you. And as a bank, we're committed to helping your businesses thrive. And so on behalf of Access Bank and on behalf of the W Initiative of Access Bank, we wish you a happy Women Entrepreneurship Day. Thank you so much for joining us once again, and welcome. My name is Ifeoluwa Omoto, and it is my absolute delight, as always, to be your moderator on this webinar session today. What I would like you to do is to introduce yourselves in the comment section. Let us know your name, where you're joining us from, and what you do. You may not know your next client may be on this call today. So please go ahead to introduce yourselves in the comment section and let us know your name, where you're joining us from, and what you do. Today, we have a very important topic we're going to be talking about. It is no news that tax compliance and financial literacy are not just regulatory requirements. They are strategic tools that help businesses grow, help businesses access opportunities, and also attract investors, and also help you, stay ahead of competition in this time that we find ourselves. And so today's session, we will be unpacking certain concepts in a simple, relatable, and actionable way. And so we have an exciting lineup structured in two powerful segments, each addressing a critical part of your entrepreneurship journey. So what I would like you to do is to tell a friend, to tell a friend, and tell another friend that the W Initiative is live on YouTube, and we're going to be discussing a very salient topic for businesses and business owners. So make sure to sit back and soak in every bit of information that will be shared on this session today. With that being said, I know a lot of you may have joined this session by chance. You probably don't even know what the W Initiative is. And so my first speaker today is going to introduce the W Initiative to us, telling us what they do and who they are. Please welcome with me the team lead of the Women in Business segment here at Access Bank, Olubusola Faraway. Hi, Busola. Good afternoon and welcome.
Please confirm you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. Like Ife has said, happy Women Entrepreneurship Day to us, and thank you for being here. To take it right into the focus of what I'm here to do, I'm here to basically introduce W. And a number of us may have heard the W Initiative, the W community. You may have even wondered, oh, what is the W about? Now, the W is the home of everything Access Bank has to offer women. Now, for us at Access Bank, this journey didn't just start today. We've been doing this for over a decade, and we're very excited about the transformation and the impacts that we've been able to make with the W Initiative. We officially launched in 2014, but prior to 2014, we had a program called the Gender Empowerment Program that helped us launch into, creating an initiative to impact the Women in Business segment. And we did this in partnership with an international organization where we provided on-lending and technical support in terms of business support and trainings to women, where we're able to give over $50 million in funding. As a result of the success of this program, the W Initiative was birthed, and we've been able to do what we call the WIs, inspire, connect, and empower women across the markets and communities that we serve as Access Bank. So for every Access Bank community you go, our goal is to ensure that the W Initiative is embedded into what we do. And I'll be very glad to say that the W is currently present in over 10 African countries and counting, because the Access Bank brand is spreading wide across the African markets, and we're taking the W along with us. The W Initiative is supposed to be our option and our bundle offer to give Access Bank that particular positioning as the bank of choice for women in Africa. Now, we do this across what we call focus segments, where we dissect and we basically put women into buckets to ensure that we can cater to their needs, of course, knowing that their needs actually vary. We have the Women in Business segment, which we're currently celebrating today with this webinar. We have the young professionals, we have the women and family. That's basically a woman that has decided to, care for the family and stay home to be a homemaker. We also have the millennial and the Gen Zs. We believe that this is a segment that is crucial because this is the young generation, disrupting the ecosystem in positive lights and doing great things. We also have the W quintessential, which is a segment of women that are really giving out and willing to give back as a result of some of the impacts and developments that they have even made for themselves. And I'm glad to say that we have one of our quintessential women speaking to us today, someone who is very dear to the W initiative and has really, given us all the support she can to ensure that we can do so much more for women. We have the W chain makers, which is basically the women, within the informal sector, doing business, doing magnificent things within their segments and their communities, in their petty trade, in their small businesses. Now, these segments help us to, streamline our targets, streamline our offerings, and cater to the needs of these women. Now, we have products and propositions. So W is not an account. It is not you say, okay, I walk into an Access Bank branch and I say, I want to open a W account. The W is all-encompassing, such that once you open a business relationship with Access Bank, or you even open a personal relationship with Access Bank, you are onboarding as a woman, hence you're getting a full package comprising of access to finance, access to markets, access to networks, as well as access to capacity building. Now, we're very big on capacity building because we do know that as a financial institution, our primary objective is to provide financial intermediation. However, we do know that we have to do beyond these banking services, and this is why our access to capacity building, access to market, and access to network are very critical to us at the W initiative. On our access to finance, we have our W Power Loan, which is our flagship, financing scheme for women in business. And it has really expanded to cover things like access to vehicle finance, access to solar financing, where you get funding to fund your renewable energy needs, because of course everyone is going green, everyone is trying to be eco-friendly and ensuring that we have a safe environment. We also have what we call the W Home Loan, where we've been able to ensure that women can actually become homeowners. They buy properties in their own names, and it's no longer a barrier for a woman to own a property anymore. We also have what we call the W Health Loan. This is our flagship health program that Access Bank has been able to establish as a pioneer bank that has a health financing scheme. And we have a number of, state government intervention programs that we've been able to deploy into the market for our W change makers. And we're coming up with so much more. For our trainings, we currently have the Womenpreneur Pitch-a-thon program that is currently ongoing, where we have an all-inclusive 8 weeks class program where women go through trainings, go through, certified programs by the ISC certified trainers to ensure that they can have access to a mini MBA that gives them that level of, intelligence and improve their capacity to even grow sustainable businesses. We're very big on sustainability at Access Bank, and this is one of the key reasons why we are doing the Womenpreneur Pitch-a-thon program, and a whole lot of other programs that we do on our business clinics, our webinars, our grassroots programs that we do for women to ensure that we can, give them the skills, give them the tools they require, and then they can improve themselves. Our networking programs, like I said, exist, and we do this, in clusters, ensuring that we can reach more people. We also have our access to market, where we ensure that our women cannot just get access to finance from us, but they can also grow their business through getting access to market. Now, I'll speak a little bit in detail on our W Power Loans. Now, the W Power Loan is our financing scheme where women can get up to 100 million naira with very flexible collateral requirements. So right now, women can take loans from us up to 10 million naira without providing a collateral for their loans and for their businesses. Now, please let's note that it's important for every woman to have a registered business. It's important for a woman to ensure that business to ensure that she can get the W Power loan. We have discounted pricing. We're very big on ensuring that women get the good deals at W. So with the W, you know that you're getting discounts, you're getting good offers, and you're getting flexibility. The vehicle loan also, you get access to purchase funds and vehicles, brand new pre-owned vehicles at discounted rates. And I'm emphasizing the fact that it's discounted because for every SME that goes into the market today, we understand the challenges of the rates, we understand the things that arise in the cost of funding in the market. But the Access Bank, we've done everything possible to ensure that this can be as discounted as possible. The home loans, now women can get loans for up to 20 years of repayment. So that gives you that flexibility as well to repay your loans at a very flexible and easy pace. And you can get this funding to buy a new property, to develop a property. And I would say this also, that Access Bank is one of the disbursing banks on the Ministry of Finance home funding, that's the HEMRIF, which gives people loans up to 100 million naira at a very, very discounted rate. Now, I've spoken to the switch to solar, where we give women up to 50 million naira to buy, renewable energy items, solar panels to improve their access to power supply. The W Power loan, I've spoken extensively on this. I just want to move right into the home loan financing, specifically on the MRIF program, where women can get loans up to 12% per annum. I do believe that this is an initiative that all women should please key into, because it's an initiative of the government, and it's an opportunity for you to get that property, that asset that you truly need for your business and even for yourself as an individual. Like I said earlier, the vehicle loan is there. So please go on. After this call, we have a feedback form. You can indicate your interest for any of our programs, and I'll tell you, you're in for a good partnership with the W. Give us feedback on things that you even feel like, okay, we can do to help your business. And I would say that we at the W are ready to listen to you. Solar is available to you as a woman, discounted, highly discounted for you to get your solar panels. And we're also very big on ensuring that the pricing is very flexible for you. The tenors are as high as 48 months for our solar finance. Our vehicle loans also as much as 48 months. That's 4 years. You can repay your loan easily and conveniently. Finally, I'll speak to our health loan. Now, this is one product that I say is very dear to us at W, because it's a product that we've been able to use to help families, on the quest of better health, looking for, the ability to even complete the family, fertility procedures are financed under this program, and a whole lot of other things. Now, recently we introduced the cancer support and the medical emergency financing for women to access funding to cover all of these treatments. And it's an opportunity for you as a business person or as an individual, because it's open to both individuals and business owners. And a woman can take the facility for herself. A third party can also take the loan on behalf of a woman, but the primary beneficiary will be a woman. It's open to both salary earners and business owners, and you can get as much as 10 million naira for the cancer support. And then you also can get as much as 10 million naira for the fertility treatments and maternal health procedures. Our W Academy caters to everything on trainings, and I've spoken very much on that. So please do well to ensure that you are a member of the W community by also getting your W debit card. Now, this is our own branded debit card for our female customers to ensure that they can have an identity. We currently have a health screening promo going on, where women with the W debit card can actually get free screenings on their, routine cervical cancer screening assessment, and a whole lot more. So please go to any of the Access Bank branches to get your card today, and do well to reach out to us on the W Cares if you have any inquiries or any comments. I'll say stay connected with us at W. Do not leave the W train. Don't drop off, because W has so much more in store for you. And at this point, I'd like to say thank you again for joining us. And I would like to now hand over back to Ife to take us on the remaining of the session. Over to you, Ife.
Thank you so much, Busola. I'm sure that we have all heard the beautiful things that Access Bank is doing for women through the W initiative. So make sure to follow us across all our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and X at the W community. And also be sure to click the subscribe button below this video, just so that you can get first-hand information anytime we have amazing sessions such as this for you. Thank you so much once again, Busola. Now, as we go forward into the session, I'd like to confirm from you, and I want you to put this in the comment section, on a scale of 1 to 5, how often do you feel overwhelmed by business requirements as business owner, whether it's planning for the future or even keeping up with new laws and reforms? I want you to put this in the comment section on a scale of 1 to 5. How often do you feel overwhelmed by business requirements, whether it's planning for the future or keeping up with new laws and reforms? Okay, I can see people answering me. I see a 4, I see a 5. I see, yes, I see 4s, 5s. Yes, definitely. Oh, somebody even has 8. Now, that is why this session is important for you. So we'd like to give you the opportunity to reach out to your friends who are not here yet, who are business owners, because this is going to enlighten you. And beyond the day-to-day pressure of running a business, there is a bigger question of building something that lasts. I'm sure a lot of you are looking to, when you move back from your business, you want to make sure that your children go forward with the business, maybe your grandchildren. You want it to be sustainable, right? You want something that is structured, resilient, and capable of thriving through transitions and changing economic cycles. And now today we have a session that is tagged Building Business Legacies. And on that session, we're going to focus on the powerful role that women like you play in shaping thriving businesses and lasting legacies. We're going to explore mindsets, structures, and strategies that are needed to build enterprises that outlive challenges and continue to thrive. And so to lead this conversation on building business legacies, we couldn't have a more fitting voice than a highly accomplished board director with over 3 decades of experience across diverse economic sectors, including financial services, agriculture, oil and gas, and education. She has established herself as a formidable governance and finance advisor. And with over 2 decades of boardroom experience, it gives her a deep insight into corporate leadership. She currently leads GTO Professional Services Limited, a business and management consulting firm. And she sits on the board of many multinational organizations, including Access Bank. She recently concluded her tenure as chairman of Saru Oil Palm Limited. And so her profile reflects excellence, depth, and long-standing leadership. Her career is a testament to what it means to build systems, institutions, and legacies that last. And so this makes her the perfect voice to guide us through today's conversation. And so I would like you to put your virtual claps in the comment section like we always do as we welcome Titi Oshuntoki. Good afternoon, Ma, and thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ifeoluwa, and good afternoon, everyone. I will share my slides. Just give me a minute to do that.
Yes, we can see your slide. Okay.
So good afternoon again, and thank you very much, Access Bank, for giving me this opportunity to lead a conversation that is very important to women. I've been asked to speak about building business legacies. Women can too. And I'm sure you can tell from that topic that it presupposes that most business legacies are built by men. I'm hoping that at the end of this session, we will all be inspired to transform our existing businesses or ideas that we have, If we're looking to start new businesses, we'll be inspired to transform our dreams into enduring business empires that will inspire generations. So we're going to be going on a 20-minute journey, and I'm going to start with a very brief introduction. I will take us through some interesting statistics that show the increasing contribution of women in the business space. I would also share some inspiring stories of a few women who've built million-dollar empires. I will share with you essential strategies for building lasting business legacies, and then I will close by giving some insights on the power of unity. So today is a very important day for women. It's November 19, and it's Women Entrepreneurship Day. It's a special day to celebrate women in business all over the world. I think about over 140 countries are marking this day. It is also interesting to note that today is International Men's Day. So we get to celebrate our men 5 months after celebrating them in June. We're always happy to celebrate our men on a daily basis. So back to the women, we know that the world of business anywhere is certainly not for the faint-hearted. It is for those who can demonstrate courage, grit, creativity while building strong networks. It's a very tough and increasingly complex world that we live in, and women face challenges. We all know that, from limited access to finance, access to markets, and access to influential networks. But against all of these odds, we see women on a daily basis who dare to dream, women who dare to build, women who dare to lead. From the woman who's running a small business to the woman who's leading corporate organizations, these are women that show up on a daily basis. They're breaking barriers, they're rewriting narratives, and they're contributing to the GDP. So today, I want us to celebrate ourselves. We need to honor our resilience, our creativity, our deep sense of purpose. And I want to say to every female entrepreneur out there, please, please celebrate yourself. Well done, well done, well done indeed. So let's see some statistics on gender performance in entrepreneurship across the globe. You will see from the bar charts that I have displayed that there's a slowly but rising percentage of women entrepreneurs globally. This is the global statistics is from the World Economic Forum 2022 report. And this report illustrates that if you look at the black line, that's what's showing the statistics for the world. It shows that globally, women-owned businesses account for 34% of all enterprises in the world. And you know that this is against the backdrop of a male-dominated population. We have a ratio of 50.6% male and 49.4% female. And against that backdrop, we have just 34% of enterprises in the world being owned by women. If you go deeper, you will see that Latin America and the Caribbean, the lead with an impressive 50%. Closely followed by East Asia at 47%. Africa stands at 29%, and this indicates that there's significant room for us to grow and in our region. So we can see that against the backdrop of the population, that the gender parity, this gender parity gap in entrepreneurship has significant economic implications for the global economy. And McKinsey estimates that when closing this gap could unlock up to $12 trillion in global GDP. And for Africa, the implication will be about $360 billion increase in terms of GDP. This is very significant. Let's look at the statistics for Nigeria. So we have the statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics. The report 2 years ago, very interesting. It shows groundbreaking progress in the case of Nigeria. in the Nigerian entrepreneurship landscape, we see that as at 2023, women contributed 40% in terms of ownership of enterprises. That is very interesting. And then this increase that we're seeing, or the growth that we're seeing in terms of the contribution of women, is further corroborated by the Fate Foundation report last year, which actually shows that between 2022 and 2024, we saw a 9% growth in the women-led enterprises in Nigeria. This is also a pointer to the fact that a lot of the talks and the attention that we're paying to encourage women in business, is all of those things are beginning to pay off. And with this record of 48% of enterprises in Nigeria being owned by women, it will place us in Nigeria in a comfortable position, or amongst the top 3 countries in Nigeria in terms of female participation in industry. So I will now share the stories of a few female leaders who continue to inspire the world with their work. Let me start with Chief Mrs. Folorunsho Alakija. I'm sure that we all know her story. She's a businesswoman, she's a philanthropist, she's a billionaire entrepreneur. She's been able to grow from humble beginnings in fashion. She transited to oil trading, and she's built a multi-billion naira conglomerate. The value of our enterprise today stands at $2.5 billion. And she's been able to use her wealth to empower women through scholarships and mentorship programs. The second female that I would like to share her story is Sarah Blakely. She's American. She's the founder of Spanx. I'm sure that a lot of us women know Spanx. It's an intimate apparel company. They produce shapewear, leggings. I'm sure we're all familiar with what Spanx does. Well, this is the woman behind the business. She turned her idea for shapewear into $1 billion company. And this has made her one of the youngest self-made female billionaires at the age of 41. And her net worth today, as per the records from Forbes, is $1.2 billion. And she uses her story to continue to encourage and inspire women. The third person here is Oprah Winfrey. We all know her. She's a media mogul. She's the founder of Own Network, and she's risen from humble beginnings to become a global media icon. She's built a multi-platform media empire while mentoring and encouraging countless women worldwide. Her story is very impressive. She's transformed over hundreds of thousands of lives globally. Next, but not the least, is Ibukun Awoshika. She's the founder of the Chair Center Group. She was the chairperson of First Bank. I think she was the first female chairperson of a bank, which is very quite notable. She's expanded a local furniture business into a national brand. And she serves as mentor to numerous women all over the world. So we can see from the stories that, yes, indeed, women can build and sustain legacies. These are very practical examples of women. They've risen from very small beginnings. They've defied all the odds, and they continue to exemplify remarkable legacy. So there's a lot to learn from them. So what are the leadership lessons from my own experience? I have learned in my over 3 decades of leadership that leadership is never a straight and narrow journey. The leadership journey is full of twists, turns, and bends. And it is in these bends and twists that because of the challenges that we learn hard lessons, and it's these hard lessons that basically just shape us into what and who we are. So there are a number of lessons that I have learned in my own journey, but I will just share 4 key insights. Number 1 is that knowledge is your currency. Knowledge is power. And continuous learning for me is my biggest investment in myself. And that's one thing that I want to share with us. Because the more you know, the more valued you are, the more valued you become. And for me, this has really helped me a lot in what I do today, because I sit on boards that cut across different sectors of the economy. So I'm constantly learning, unlearning, and relearning. And I have seen that for me, knowledge is actually has become a competitive advantage. Continuous learning has become a competitive advantage because it's enabled me to adapt, to innovate, and to maintain relevance. And that takes me to the second insight, which is that adaptability keeps you relevant. When you're able to adapt to situations, you're able to pivot wisely, you're able to come up with ideas that would make you or the business that you're running a lot more competitive. So the third one is that resilience is very paramount for you to be able to lead in whatever business or even the career that you're in. And I'm sure that if we take time to look at the stories of these women that I had shared, and so many other women, we will see that one of the virtues that they have is resilience. Because resilience essentially means having a positive mindset. It means being a chronic optimist. You must be able to believe that you can do all things against the odds. So I've learned also in my journey to embrace failure. I've learned to embrace failure as a learning opportunity. And I've also learned to always have a growth mindset. And then the fourth one will be self-belief. Self-belief is non-negotiable. If you want to grow in business, you want to scale your business, and you want to build a business that would outlive you, you must not succumb to self-doubt. And that is a major issue that a lot of women have to grapple with, because sometimes it's not even, you're not having self-doubt because you're having some fears within yourself. In a lot of cases for women, the self-doubt is imposed by other people. So you must ensure that you constantly reaffirm to yourself, that as a woman, that you are capable, that as a woman, you are deserving of, the position that you're at, or whatever opportunity comes your way. As a woman, you must be very confident in your abilities as well. So I've learned one thing, which is to believe in myself, because I believe that if I don't believe in myself, I can't go far, and I shouldn't even expect other people to believe in me. So those are very key lessons that I have learned in the course of my journey. I will now be sharing with us the strategies that we need to put in place to be able to build business legacies that can endure. So you can see from this slide that they're basically just two things. So the first thing is to have a very clear vision. That is very, very important, because that comes from you. So you must be able to have a very clear vision that is rooted in strong values. So your values are also very, very important, because it's your value that drives every decision that you take. And it's those decisions that you make that then transform into you building a business that would outlive you. So your vision, very important, the values, and those are the things that would result in the impact that you will be able to create from the business that you create. So what I've done here is I've come up with a 6-step legacy building framework. And basically what I've done is I have been able to draw my analogy from the concept of building a house. So if you want to build a house that will be able to withstand unfavorable environmental conditions, what are the things that you will need to put in place? And I liken that to the steps that people have taken to build businesses that are standing, that are able to stand the test of time. So the first thing would be to ensure that you pay a lot of attention on the foundation. If you're building a house, you must ensure that the foundation is solid. And that's the same thing with building a business. But the foundation, in the case of a business, is your vision. Your vision essentially is having a very clear blueprint of what you want to achieve. That is your vision. And then your mission, what's the purpose of your existence? What needs are you meeting? Why are you in business? Very, very important. And then your core values, those are the pillars, like I showed on the earlier slide, that would define the decisions that you're taking. And those are the things that would help you ensure building a legacy. You also have to have very smart goals. The goals have to be specific, they have to be measurable, they have to be audacious whilst being achievable, and they have to be realistic, and they have to be time-bound. So those are the things that you need to be able to even start off the building blocks of getting to where you want to get to. And then the next is putting together the materials. If you want to build a house, the strength of the house will be informed by the quality of the materials that you put together. In the case of a business, it's the structure. You must be able to define roles. You must be able to define responsibilities. What systems are you putting in place? What sort of people are you bringing? What sort of quality are you seeking to derive? So people that are skilled, people that are motivated, and people that will be continuously engaged. And then the next thing would be your approach to solidifying the structure. What are the things you would do to ensure that you have a solid structure? And that's where adaptability and innovation, the kind of technology you're deploying, and the processes that you're putting in place. And then next will be how to manage the resources. So all of these resources that you have, what measures are you putting in place to manage them? The first thing is financial discipline. It's very, very important. If you're running a small business, for instance, you don't want there has to be a distinction between your personal finance and the cash flows of the business. So there must be budgeting, there must be planning, and then you must also have a culture of saving and investing and reinvesting in the business. You must also be able to keep good records because it's very important. Accountability and all of that, continuous improvement. These are things that you need as part of the building blocks to ensuring that you build a business that would outlive you. And then the next thing is sustainability, very important. How you engage the community and how you ensure that you maintain policies and practices that will promote social responsibility. Very, very important. And lastly, if you want to build a house that will be solid and it will not be shaken by the pressures from the environment and all of that, you need to ensure that you put in place you need to ensure that you adhere to the appropriate building codes, because that's what will guarantee safety and longevity. So it's the same as a business. You have to have a compliance mindset. You must know the regulations. You must know what the tax laws are. And thanks to W, we're going to have the opportunity to do that today. You must know what the corporate laws are. You must know what is expected of you from your stakeholders, especially your regulators. And you must put in place measures to ensure compliance so that you do not become vulnerable as an organization. And what I've also now done is to summarize this 6-step building blocks into 3 buckets so that at least you have these takeaways. These are things that you will remember. And the first is ethical leadership. The second is innovation and adaptability. And then the third is legal compliance. So these are the buckets wherein you will find all of those steps that I've mentioned. So it's important that you have ethical leadership because you must promote a culture of integrity and accountability. And as the entrepreneur, you must set a positive example by prioritizing ethics, because that's how you inspire the people that work under you. In terms of innovation, you must always embrace innovation. The environment we work in is very, very dynamic. Things are changing. Technology is advancing on a regular basis. So you must ensure that you position yourself in a way to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves. And then legal compliance or compliance in general, very, very important, because that's how you build trust. That's how you build credibility. If you're looking to attract additional investments, or you're looking for support from banking partners or any other partner, they would be looking at how compliant you are. And compliance also helps you in terms of building a strong brand for yourself as a business owner. So these are things that are very, very important. So I'm going to have to close, and I would like to close with the power of unity. The power of unity is essentially the power of connection, because we know that nobody can build alone. You cannot build a legacy alone. So there's a power of unity that is behind every successful woman that you see. And it's a strong support base. It's a circle of support that is made up of mentors, colleagues, partners, and friends who believe in the vision of that entrepreneur. So you must always find a way of connecting. And you must choose connection over competition. When you choose connection over competition, that is what collaboration is all about. Collaboration is basically moving from competition to working with others, sharing knowledge with others. And that's how you multiply the opportunities that are open to you. When you collaborate with others, you're able to leverage opportunities that even the others also have. And that helps you expand your business, and it helps you accelerate your growth. The second thing is mentorship. Mentorship is that bridge between your potential and your ability to achieve. And you need to be able to seek guidance, from people who have experience, people that have walked that path that you're walking. It's important that you learn from them so you don't make the mistakes that they made. You can learn from their mistakes, you can learn from their successes, and you can use that to build a stronger business for yourself. And obviously, the third force of unity is your support networks. You need to be able to form alliances. You need to be able to build strategic partnerships. And as I said earlier on, all of these things are the things that would help you ensure that you are able to build a business that will stand the test of time. So as we leave this session, I want to challenge every one of us to lead with a vision, to structure our businesses for growth, to stay compliant, and to collaborate actively and mentor intentionally. So you might be the first as an entrepreneur in your space. You might be the first person, but you don't have to be the last person. You must always remember never to take the ladder that placed you where you are with you. It is important that you let your business, the business you're driving, let it inspire a generation of women who will hear your story, just as you've heard some stories. And those women will say to themselves that because you did it, they also can. So because she did, I can too. So I leave you with a charge to go and build your legacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. That was very, very well said. Can we see your claps in the comment section? Let us see you clapping for her, because she did justice to the topic in the short period of time that she was given. And I particularly love it when our speakers use analogies that are very, very relatable, because yes, this was really insightful. One key thing that stood out for me is the fact that you said adaptability keeps you relevant. And that is very, very true, because the ability to adapt, it even helps you to become better. So for us at W, we would typically have our sessions in branches, maybe one branch at a time. But then COVID came and we needed to adapt. And it became a virtual webinar, and now we're recording people joining from 10 countries, 12 countries, like that, which would not have happened if we were not able to adapt. So I really, really resonated with that point. Adaptability keeps you relevant. And one other thing that you said is that we need to have a clear vision rooted in strong values, which is key, because you cannot, the business cannot be sustainable. You cannot transfer it if the vision is not strong enough to be transferred. So thank you so much for that very insightful session. We're going to take a few questions for her before she leaves. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. But I am going to start with the questions, because I have a question in mind. You spoke about mentorship, right? And I think that's one thing that a lot of people struggle with, whether professionals or even women in business. How do we select a mentor?
Yeah, I think it's a very simple process. It depends on the area of interest that you have. What you do essentially is to look out for people who are in that area of interest, and you reach out to them. I believe that, and that's the good thing about women. We also have platforms that also help women. We have WIMBYs, we have so many other organizations that are basically helping. There's She Leads Africa. There are quite a number, Rising Tide, there are many. So it really depends on the sector or the area of interest. So you just reach out to them, and I believe that they'll be more than happy, to take you on and walk you through the journey that you're on. And there are also individuals that you can easily approach. You have to just keep your ears to the ground, and just always, if you have the passion to learn and you're always looking for knowledge, it will not be difficult for you to be able to get a mentor. That's the way I've looked at it. If you're somebody who's always reaching out to improving yourself, you will look for the next available seminar, next available webinar, and those fora provide you with the opportunity to just walk up to an individual, you exchange your. I've had so many people do that with me. Young people, they will just walk up to me. Sometimes I haven't even, it's not only when I have a speaking engagement. So I'm just as a participant, right? And somebody just walks up, or somebody just sits next to me, and she's like, oh, what's your name, Ma? I just want to get to know you. Here's my card, and then they start following up, with a text message. Oh, I was the one you saw last week, and all of that, So that's and women are always willing, to support one another, and that's the good thing.
Great, thank you so much. So what she's saying is that make sure to shoot your shot. You never know. This person you're reaching out to me, just have a little bit of time on her hands that she can use in mentoring you. So thank you so much for that, Ma. We have a few questions here, and we'll quickly take them. One is, what mindset shifts do women need to make to move from survival mode to legacy building mode? So this person is asking about mindset shifts. What kind of mindset shift would you recommend so that the businesses can move from just surviving to, being sustainable?
Yeah, that's a very important question, because that's one of the limitations that a lot of women have. You just want to, day to day, let me just take every day as it comes, and whatever opportunity comes, I take advantage of it, and I'm living day by day. But that's not the way to build a legacy. Like I said in the presentation, you must have a vision. You must be able to think big, but you don't wait till you're big to actualize that dream that you have. You take the little steps, but you must be able to envision, where do I see myself in 5 years? Where do I see myself in 10 years? What are the building blocks that I have to put in place to be able to achieve? Which was why I came up with that 6-step building framework, and I use the analogy of building a house, So it depends. If you want to build a one-room, whatever, you want to build a mansion, different approaches to it. So it's basically the same. So you need to be able to take out of that survival mindset. As you said, mindset. So because it's a mindset, it's something that you're in control of, because it's your mind. it's just like self-doubt, so you just need to be making some affirmations that I can do it. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. You just have to be constantly making those affirmations, to yourself and taking the steps. But you must be a dreamer. You must have, because you're limited by what you envision. If you think small, even when the big opportunities come, you don't even see, because you're not wired. Your mind is not set in that perspective. So you must be able to think big, and you take measured steps to achieve the heights that you desire.
Great, wonderfully said. Thank you so much. I think we have 2 more questions for you. This one says, succession planning is often ignored by small and growing businesses. How early should we as entrepreneurs start thinking about succession?
Another very good question. So if you want a business that would outlive you, because our tenure on earth is limited, and you want something that people will continue to talk about your story, then it means that you have to build that consciousness into the foundation of the business. So it's all about reflecting on those 6 building blocks. So you must be able to put in place a structure that can scale. So, of course, you don't wait till you're big to start the business, but you have a structure that you can easily tweak. When you see other opportunities, you're branching out, you're going into different product offerings, you're going into different markets, you must be able to have that structure in place early in your business, in the life of the business. You must have that structure, and then you fill the gaps, as things go on. So
yes,
you need to be proactive. Maybe that's, and it should not be a tactical approach. It's not when those opportunities then come and you're looking for, who's going to help me do this? But I think that one good thing that a lot of people are doing, and I have some friends who are doing that, is basically having a network of, like a virtual network. So you have people that you can leverage, so if you're not there, so I have a friend who's running a recruiting business, so she can afford to go on leave because there are other people in her network who can stand in her stead in case there's an opportunity, and, somebody who's knowledgeable has to be physically there. So you can, like I said in the presentation, form alliances. So there could be virtual alliances, but be people that have your core values, because that's very important, because decisions are formed based on your core values. And it is the quality of those decisions that determine whether you outlast your expectations, or it's just going to crumble in no time. I don't know if I've been able to answer that.
Yes, you did justice to that. And I particularly love the fact that you mentioned structures that scale, because it then leads me to this last question that is being asked. Many entrepreneurs build businesses around their personal strength, but not systems and structures. What do we need to do? Because we've heard stories of women who, we still had a few weeks ago, somebody was saying, I can't leave my business for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I had to tell the person that, you need to be able to build something that would survive without you there. So a lot of people build their businesses around their personal strength, which is good. But I think you need to expand more on the fact that they need to build systems and structures better than just relying on the strength. So the question this person is asking is that many entrepreneurs build businesses around their personal strengths, but not systems and structures. What do we need to do about this?
Yeah, so it's good to build your business around because you have to start from your position of strength. But it's also important to have structures, because all of those things you need to do that would ensure the sustainability of your business, they flow from the structure that you put in place. You cannot be the accountant, the tax officer, the auditor, you cannot play all those roles as a business owner. So you must be able to farm out some of the systems. Sometimes the systems don't be within your organization. So you can outsource some services. Consultants are very good at that. People that run partnerships or smaller firms and all of that, right? But they still have the benefit of the entire functionality of a business. So you don't have to have them as your staff, but you can have an arrangement whereby you leverage those resources. I do that. A lot of people do that. If I want to, for my tax returns, I just send my report to the tax agent, consultants, and they do a draft. I look at it, and if there's some things that are omitted, and all of that, so that you don't have to be the jack of all trades. I mean, the jack of all
Omega of the business.
the alpha and omega of the business. You don't have to.
Thank you so much, man. That was wonderfully said. I think we can take this last question. This person says, hi, Ma. Usually, I'm not sure it's very much about this topic, but I feel like it would be nice to answer it. She says, hi, Ma. Usually, before women think about business, we are turned off by capital. It looks like that's the most important brick to break. How can a young woman overcome the fear of not getting enough capital?
Well, I think the first thing is for you to, if you want to start your own business, you must have a skin in the game. That is your own equity, your own contribution. When people see that you're passionate about what you want to do, and they see a commitment that you have demonstrated, that you're somebody that can be relied upon, from things that you have done in the past. They might not even be connected because character is consistent. So some of the things you've done in the past would give a potential investor some comfort about your integrity and all of that. So these are things that, and that's why we need to be very careful and ensure that we're building good character, because you just never know where it will now become needed. Exactly. So if you're somebody of good character and you have your own money, you're not just spending money on other things, and people can see that this person is really, you will be able to. So you first start with the area of least resistance, which is maybe family and friends. Right. And we all know these things, so you start with family, you start with friends, and then you then start the business. You have a statement of account, something that shows, okay, with the little seed that you have invested, this is how you've been able to multiply it. And so anybody who's bringing their own seed too, there will be multiplication. It will not be diminution in value. So you will be able to then go to the bank or go to other angel investors, private investors, other forms of sources, to be able to. But the most important thing, because even when you go to the bank, it is character they're going to look at. They're going to look at your antecedents, they're going to look at your history, they're going to look at all of those things. Your credit score, what you did when you had credit card. Did you just jump credit cards? Or you were very diligent in ensuring that, you paid up on those. So those are character building is very, very important, because that's really what you're selling as an entrepreneur. People want to support you when they believe in your vision. So you must have a vision that is compelling, and you must be passionate about seeing that vision come to fruition. It's very, very important.
Thank you so much. It has been a very, very enlightening session. Once again, let us put our virtual hands together for her. It's been a very wonderful session with you. Thank you so much. It was so spot on and very insightful for us. And we'd like to say thank you so much for taking our time to, educate us this evening. I see everybody saying thank you and clapping their hands for you in the comment section. Thank you so much, Ma. We are so grateful to have you on this session. And we'll quickly move on to the second segment of the session. Now, given the recent changes in Nigeria tax landscape, I mean, Titi had mentioned just before she closed that it's important to be compliant, and so you need to be up to date on the laws and everything, reforms and the likes, so that you're sure that you are not in the bad books of the law, right? It is therefore essential for every business, whether micro, small, medium, or growing, or even established businesses, to understand what the new laws mean and how to remain compliant without stress or without confusion, right? And so what we intend to do with this session is to break down the new tax regulation in clear, practical language. What has changed, the implication for your business, compliance expectations, and how you need to optimize for your operations under this new tax regime. And we have somebody that is very fit to speak to us. To lead this conversation, we are joined by a highly experienced tax professional whose work sits at the very heart of Nigeria's tax administration and reform. She's a passionate legal professional with over 17 years of experience. She began her career in private litigation before dedicating the last 15 years to the Federal Inland Revenue Services, where she has built deep expertise in tax law, tax administration, and government-led reform initiative. She currently serves as a manager in the Fiscal and Tax Reforms Implementation Division, the strategic unit that is responsible for coordinating and driving key tax and fiscal reforms across the country. And this role places her at the forefront of policy interpretation, implementation, and stakeholder engagement. So you see that she is the right and perfect person to take us through this conversation. Please put your hands together again, like we always do, as we welcome Barrister Chinwe Edna Usoma. Hi, Barrister Chinwe. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ife. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thank you so much. Yes, we can hear you.
Let me start by welcoming everybody who is connected to this program via any platform. And let me also thank Access Bank. I think it's a very noble initiative you have in celebrating gender, particularly women. And I'm particularly excited about the W initiative. Let me start. I must say at this point that I hold an account. I have an account with Access Bank for over 15 years. So this is more or less like a family meeting for me. And it is even my salary account. So I will not play with Access Bank at all. So I think it's a very noble thing that you're doing by putting women, the affairs that relate to women at the forefront of your activities. It's very noble. And I want to acknowledge the speakers who spoke before me. Ms. Busola, your paper was brilliant, and I learned quite a lot. While I knew before today, I knew about the W initiative, but I didn't know how broad it was in scope prior to today. So I've learned quite a lot from your presentation, Ms. Busola, and I can assure you that we'll talk after this presentation. I'll contact you and we'll do things together. I intend to key into some of the incentives that are inherent in the W initiative. And for Madam Titi, thank you very much for your very, very brilliant presentation. And thank you for reiterating again the importance of learning, relearning, and unlearning. We cannot emphasize how important it is to keeping ourselves abreast with happenings around us and on the global scene as well. Particularly for women, we suffer a kind of disadvantage just for being women. But thankfully, these things are becoming, there are challenges that can be surmounted by women. And thank you for also sharing inspiring stories of women who have against all odds, risen to the top of their profession and are doing great things in their own fields of existence. So thank you. I'm honored and I'm glad to be here. So let's just get right to it. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I'll just share my screen right away. Is my screen visible, please?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So in the very limited time that I have for today's presentation, we're going to be talking about knowing your tax, growing your business, and understanding the new tax laws. I assume that we are all aware of the fact that Nigeria is currently in the process of implementing some reforms as far as the reforms that relate to fiscal and taxation as a sector. And I think it's a very noble concept that it's very noble of Access Bank to want to educate their female entrepreneurs, female customers on the need, on the recent taxes that have just been rolled out by government. And it is my belief that at the end of this session today, I would have been able to throw more insights in addition to what you previously knew about the reforms. And I believe that you would have learned more from them, I believe that you would have learned more from my presentation at the end of this session. And this topic, know your tax, grow your business, understanding the new tax laws, is aligned with Access Bank PLC's Women Entrepreneurship Day, which is being celebrated globally today with the theme, Together We Build. And now to my introduction. I want to believe that we all know what taxes mean. In the simplest of terms, a tax is a compulsory levy that is imposed by governments. It is not something that you have a say over whether or not you want to pay. It is not a gift. It is not a donation to government. It is a compulsory levy imposed by governments, backed by law, and for which there are sanctions when you fail to, or when you default in adhering to them. A tax is a compulsory levy, and of course, taxation still remains one of the powerful tools through which governments raises revenue that is used to provide the resources that we need to make our lives better. We enjoy good roads in most parts of Nigeria to an extent. There's pipe-borne water, there's
Hi, Barrister Wing. I think we lost you. Can you hear me?
There seems to be a problem with her network.
Yes, I think there is an issue with our network. Hello, Barrister Chinwe, can you hear us? Apologies, I think Barrister Chinwe is experiencing a little bit of a network glitch. And so we'll just give her a few minutes to join back in as she tries to join in back. Okay, welcome back. Can you hear us now? Yes,
yeah,
we can hear you.
Oh, there was a slight disruption there. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Okay, so let me
Let's
just reshare my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
All right. So like I said, at the end of this session, it is my belief that we would have had clearer understanding of the Nigerian tax laws, and we would have gotten one or two practical steps that will aid us in complying with the tax laws. We would have gotten one or two strategies that will help us to grow sustainably and to also get the confidence that we need to make informed business decisions. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, my screen is freezing. Okay. From what you can see on the screen, it's glaring that the informal sector, which is largely composed of medium, small, and small SMEs, basically contributes about 60% to the GDP of Nigeria as at today from available statistics. So it is not a sector to be toyed with. 60% of the GDP of Nigeria comes from the informal sector, out of which 93% from employment share of 93% from SMEs, and out of which from these SMEs, majority of them are women. That is why this particular webinar gives me so much joy that we're talking to women are the targeted audience, and it's very important because women form majority. The majority of small businesses in Nigeria are manned by women. So Nigeria's, as I said, Nigeria's informal sector contributes 60% of GDP, 93% international of employment. Most women, and sadly, despite these statistics available to us.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we would like you to put your presentation on slideshow, please, so that the screen is wider and people can see it better. Thank you so much. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, yes, great, thank you. Hi, Barrister Chinwe, can you hear me? Okay, so sorry, I think Barrister Chinwe is trying to join back in a few minutes. I'm sure she will be up. Hi, Barrister Chinwe, are you here? Can you hear us? Welcome back, Barrister Chinwe.
Oh, sorry about that. I think I'm having network glitches from my own end here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So let's just get right back to it. Let me share my screen again.
Okay, please remember to put it on slideshow so that it's easier to read. Thank you.
Is it clear?
Yes, it is.
And can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so before the network glitch, I was saying that most women, unfortunately, despite the fact that women account for the majority of SMEs in Nigeria, most women, it's sad to note that most female entrepreneurs still operate in unregistered informal markets. I don't know why. Maybe some of them become so daunted by the challenges that are inherent or that are associated with formalizing their businesses. But I want to believe that after this webinar session, they'll become more enlightened and see the need to actually take those often difficult steps to register their businesses and become more formalized and digitized. Challenges faced by women entrepreneurs include, but are not limited to, access to credit, digital barriers, safety concerns, and then domestic responsibilities. I don't think I need to emphasize too much on the domestic responsibilities part. For a woman in Nigeria, particularly if you happen to have dependents on you, you know how difficult it is to combine or to create a work-life balance. It's difficult, no matter how we try to sugarcoat it. Difficult to create a balance between your career life and your family life. So this also kind of is to a very large impact, to a very large extent, impacts on female entrepreneurs. And then one other challenge with this is that tax policies often overlook these gender-specific issues. Now, taxation is neutral. In Nigeria, for instance, we cannot say that we have taxes that are meant for women or that we have taxes that are meant for men. Taxes are generally known to be neutral. Now to the crux of the matter. If you are being very current with recent happenings in Nigeria, you will know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's, as soon as he became president, he took over office. He inaugurated a committee that was charged with the role of coming up with reforms to our fiscal and our monetary stratosphere. The committee has been headed by the very brilliant Professor Taiwo Oyedele, who I know some of you are familiar with. And the committee has more or less finished their journey, submitted their reports, and those reports led to 4 bills being passed. 4 bills were the product of the committee's very, very Herculean work, which bills were subsequently sent to the National Assembly for them to do their own part of the journey, the legislative journey, after which finally on the 26th of June this year, thankfully, the president signed those bills into law. And those bills, there are no more bills, there are now 4 tax acts. And these acts will become effective from 1st January next year. As we go along this journey, you will get to know about the 4 tax acts. Now, this tax act, what these 4 tax acts have done is that they have consolidated over 50 fragmented tax laws into 4 coherent tax bills. Prior to the passage of these 4 bills, which are now acts, we had over 50 legislations, which in one way or the other impose one tax or one levy or one duty or the other. So prior to the passage of these bills, which are now acts, if you just randomly go to Google and try to find out how many taxes Nigeria has, you will be shocked that you will not even get a uniform answer, because we had so many taxes, both legal and illegal taxes, which were being imposed on different categories of business owners in Nigeria. We had over 50 taxes of different kinds. But thankfully, due to these reforms which have just been introduced as a result of the passage of the 4 tax bills into law, this has now all the bills that we had before, which imposed different levels of taxes and duties, have now been harmonized into these tax bills. Prior to that, we had the NIDA Act, we had the NASENI Act, we had so many acts that impose different kinds of taxes on businesses. But that is now from January 1st next year, this will become a thing of the past. The reforms were comprehensive, and one of the key rationale behind the reforms were to simplify compliance and then to ensure clarity and to enhance effectiveness in tax administration, basically. The core principles of the reforms involved simplicity, that's how to make our tax laws more simplified. Even me as a tax lawyer, sometimes before the passage of this four tax bills, you pick up a particular tax legislation, you read it, and you have to keep reading it over and over and over again before it makes any kind of sense to you. And I'm a lawyer, so I can imagine how much more difficult it will be for non-lawyers or for people who are illiterate or semi-illiterate. But with the coming of the reforms, our tax laws have become more simplified, and then our tax laws have also become harmonized. Where we had scattered taxes here and there, we now have all these taxes in one or in four documents now, which we'll discuss in the course of this presentation. And this is, I must state at this juncture that the reforms introduced by the government are taxpayer focused. And I'm sure you have been hearing the refrain that government is interested in taxing the fruits of your business, not the seed. And Nigerians keep accusing FRS of wanting to collect taxes from them even when they don't make any profit, but that's not true. Government in recent times, government has been reiterating the fact that it is out to tax the fruits and not the seed. Government is taxing the prosperity of your business and not your capital. We're not looking for your capital. Government is not setting you up for failure. No, that's not the intention of government. I can assure you. And then we also need to know that the reforms were introduced to make our tax laws basically to conform with global best practices. The tax reforms were a data-driven process aimed at modernizing our administration and to increase the competitiveness of businesses. That's to make our tax and our taxes basically simpler, fairer, and to give us an edge in competing with in the global system. Let me now go quickly to talk about the four tax acts individually. The first act is the Nigerian Tax Act. Like I said before, prior to the reforms prior to the signing of these four tax acts into law, we had more than 50 legislations of different kinds that imposed one kind of tax or the other. But from what as of today, what we have in Nigeria are just four tax legislations which have harmonized all previously existing tax legislations into four. The first one is the Nigeria Tax Act. The Nigeria Tax Act is basically the act that is what we call the Charging Act. It's the act that contains the taxes you should pay, when you should pay them, who you should pay to, and the rates you should pay. So unlike what we had in times past when it was not really clear, what I've just said was not really as clear as it is now. When you pick up this Nigerian Tax Act, at a first glance, you just get clear insight as to what tax to pay, who you should pay to, how you should pay, what rate you should pay, and then penalties that will come up when penalties for default, basically. All these are found in the Nigerian Tax Act. It's basically the tax that I call it the Harmonizing Act. I also call it the Charging Act. It's the act that harmonizes all previously existing taxes in Nigeria into one single legislation. Then we also have the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, which is the act that regulates how taxation will be administered in Nigeria. And I must state at this fact that at this juncture, we need to know that FRS, as it is now, but you should know that from January 1st next year, FRS will become NRS, Nigeria Revenue Service, not Nigerian, Nigeria Revenue Service from January next year. Now, this Nigerian Tax Administration Act, the NTAA, it regulates how tax administration will be done in Nigeria, talks about how FRS or NRS at that time will go about their duties of tax administration, basically. The third act that we have is the Nigeria Revenue Service Act, Establishment Act. This act being just what it does basically is that it repeals what the currently existing FRS Establishment Act and changes the name of FRS to NRS. So from January 1st, FRS will no longer be known as FRS, it will be known as the Nigeria Revenue Service. And then the last act, which is the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act, is the act that, aside from re-establishing the TAT and establishing the Office of the Tax Ombudsman, is the act that harmonizes the activities of the NRS and the activities of the 36 boards of inland revenue. I know that you all know that every state has its own independent taxing authority that is known as the Board of Inland Revenue of the state. Now, what this particular act does is that it harmonizes the activities of the NRS and the activities of the 36, including the FCT, the activities of the boards of inland revenue of all of them put together. This Joint Revenue Board Act also re-establishes the Tax Appeal Tribunal. I don't know if we are aware of the fact that we have in Nigeria what is called as what is known as the Tax Appeal Tribunal, which is basically a dispute resolution mechanism, right, for where through which tax disputes are resolved. If you feel that you have been overcharged by FRS, you have the right to take us to the TAT. If you don't want to go to the courts directly, you have the right to, after you must have explored all internal dispute resolution mechanisms, you have the right to go to the TAT to lay a complaint that and lay your grievances based on law, and the TAT commissioners will give a resolution using the law. Now, this Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act reestablishes the TAT, so the TAT is going nowhere. And then one novel thing that it introduces is the Office of the Tax Ombudsman. In other climates, in other countries, is known as Tax Ombudsman. But in Nigeria, because they don't want to offend the sensibilities of women, we have removed the man in the Ombudsman. So in Nigeria, that office will be known as the Office of the Tax Ombudsman. And what this office will be doing is to receive complaints from taxpayers. Now, okay, the TAT will only deal with complaints that are tied to law. When you feel that you're overcharged in one way or the other, if you feel that you have legal backing, you can just go to the TAT. But when you have issues with how tax officials do their jobs, for instance, you apply for a tax clearance certificate, and if the law says you should get it within 2 weeks, for instance, and then maybe after 2 weeks, your certificate is not ready, and you need it to maybe to bid for a contract or for something different, or to apply for a visa or something, and then you keep writing to the tax authority and you're not getting the required action as promptly as you want, you have the right to now, from January next year, once from January next year, once the Office of the Tax Ombudsman becomes operational, you have the right to report any FRS staff who you feel is not living up to is not doing the job as they should. And the Office of the Tax Ombudsman will now be the body that will be responsible for holding us in check, putting us on our toes, so that we'll always give quality services to taxpayers, which, by the way, is one of the mandates of the FRS. So in a nutshell, these are basically what the 4 tax acts contain. The Nigerian Tax Act is a charging act that contains all the acts. We no longer have, for us today, we have what's a tax called CIT, that's company income tax. We have personal income tax. We have company income tax act that contains everything that relates to company and the taxes that company pay. Then we also have the Personal Income Tax Act that talks about the taxes that are paid by individuals, that's persons. And then we have the Value Added Tax Act, which talks about everything related to VAT payable by individuals or by companies. We have this Capital Gains Tax Act, which talks about everything that relates to payments of capital gains. When you sell a property, the profit that you make from selling that property is called a capital gain, which is taxable. We also have Stamp Duties Tax Act, we have Petroleum Profit Tax Act, and they are all different legislations. So if you want to talk about company income tax, you go to CETA. If you want to talk about personal income tax, you go to PITA. But that's from 1st January next year, that will no longer be the case. All these taxes that I've outlined will now be in one single document. What we'll have is that when you open the Nigerian Tax Act, you see that we have a chapter that talks about company income tax. We have a chapter that talks about personal income tax. We have a chapter that is devoted to VAT-ish matters. We have a chapter that is devoted to capital income, the stamp duties matters, and so on and so forth. And then, like I said before, the NTAA talks about how it basically regulates how the NRS goes about the activities. Then the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Act repeals FRS, establishes NRS, and talks about how regulates how NRS goes about its duties and functions, and also contains the penalties that will accrue to any taxpayer who defaults in paying his taxes. And then I've talked about the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act, which reestablishes the TAT, then now introduces the Office of the Tax Ombud, and also harmonizes the activities between the NRS and the 36 states boards of inland revenue. Now let's talk about the changes that are in here, that are contained in changes that affect corporate income in the reforms just introduced by governments. There are lots of changes, so my time is very short. I'm very time conscious right now, so I'll just talk about the key changes that are introduced by the reforms as they relate to corporate income taxes. Now, under the Nigerian Tax Act, small companies have been reclassified to small, or how do I put it? Okay, now what we have as of today is that small companies are companies that have a turnover of 25 million and below. That's what we have as of today. But from January next year, this threshold has been increased to 100 million. Now, for you to be called a big company, or sorry, a large company, it means that your annual turnover will have to be above 100 million naira. So the government has increased the threshold for small companies from 25 million to 100 million naira. So once your turnover, your profit and everything, your gross income and everything that relates to your business is less than 100 million naira, you are classified as a small company. And then as it relates to tax, thankfully, my audience, I'm talking to owners of small and medium and enterprises. The good news, I come bearing good news for you today. From next year, January, you're all classified as small companies, so long as your annual turnover is less than 100 million naira annually. And the other good news I have is that small companies are tax exempt. You are not mandated to pay any income tax from January next year. From January next year, small companies are completely exempt from paying any kind of income tax. And then for large companies, that's the big boys now, the big boys who earn over 100 million naira annually are going to be charged, they are going to be paying company income tax at 30% of their accessible profits. Small companies, 0 to 100 million naira turnover, are completely free from corporate income taxes. And then large companies who make a turnover of 100 million naira and above will pay a company income tax of 30%. Then, like I said before, we had some earmarked taxes who are no longer, sorry. Sorry. Okay, these reforms have done away with some other earmarked taxes that we had before, when we had NIDA levy, education tax, police trust fund act. Under these new reforms, we no longer have them like that. And then under the reforms, minimum tax has also been repealed for loss-making companies. I said it earlier that the government is out to tax your fruits and not your prosperity. Nobody's going to charge you any tax where you don't make any profits. So I don't want people to have it at the back of their mind that whether or not they make profit from their businesses, government will still come back in looking for taxes from where there's no profit. Where there's no profit, you're completely exempt from tax. And then under the new reforms, as it relates to corporate incomes, effective tax rate of 15% has been imposed for multinational enterprises. I'll not dwell on this because these are the let's just keep this. Let's keep this portion. And then for income, that what I talked about in the previous slide relates to companies. Like I said, small companies are now companies that have a turnover of 100 million naira and below. Now, that's for companies. Now, for individuals, what we have presently now is that if you're a salary earner and you want to pay your taxes, government gives a rebate of 300,000 naira. But as of today, your first 300,000 naira salary on an annual basis is tax-free as at today. But that threshold has been increased under these reforms. From January next year, instead of governments making only your first 300,000 naira tax-free, the threshold has been increased from 300 to 800,000 naira. So for people who earn, no matter what you earn, the first 800,000 naira of your annual income is completely tax-free. So government will start taxing you from your annual income of 801,000 naira, and it keeps going. And it's the progressive. I must emphasize that the program personal income tax still remains progressive. That has not changed under the reforms. So the higher you earn, the higher you pay. The lower you earn, the lower your personal income taxes will be. So there's a 0% tax rate for the first 800,000 naira of your annual income. And then individuals are taxed on a sliding scale, on a progressive scale. Low income earners will pay less income. And then high net worth individuals will pay higher taxes. The higher you earn, the higher your taxes. The lower you earn, the lower your taxes. And then let me also emphasize at this point that national minimum wage is exempted from tax. So for those whose salaries are just 70,000 naira, which is the national minimum wage now, you are completely tax-free. So I believe that this is good news, and I believe that this came as a result of governments listening to the yearnings of Nigeria. We actually have a listening government, if you'll agree with me. We have a government that's, to a very large extent, listens to the cry of citizens. So people who are earning national minimum wage are completely exempted from tax. Now, income tax under the reforms, we now have clearer rules for calculating personal and company income taxes. Small companies below specific turnover are exempt from. I just said that small companies below 100 million naira are free from CIT, and then VAT as the concern. I'll come to VAT. So let me just keep this for now. I'll still come to. I'm talking about company income taxes now. I'll still come to VAT in the course of this. Okay, now. Let's talk about VAT. Under the reforms, VAT remains 7.5. Government has not changed. It neither increased or reduced the rates of VAT, even though there were clamorings for it to be increased. If you are very current with happenings on the African, I don't want to talk about the global scene for now. Even in Africa, Nigeria has one of the lowest VAT rates. So there were clamorings for it to be increased to 10%. Some even talked about making it 15%, which will automatically lead to a higher cost of living for all of us, which will have an impact of increasing prices in virtually everything that we do in everything I purchase in Nigeria. But thankfully, governments refused to. Governments retained VAT rates at 7.5%. And under these reforms now, all input tax can now be recovered from output tax. Let me just tell you in the simplest of terms what input and output taxes mean. An input tax is a tax that you pay as a business owner. It's a tax that you pay. It's a VAT that you pay at the point of purchasing items for your business. So let's say you're a tailor, you're a fashion designer, and you have to buy things that will help you to provide professional services to your customers. You have to buy needles, you have to buy threads, you have to buy your sewing machines, you have to buy lining and other things, accessories basically that you need to produce quality items for your services for your customers. Any VAT that you buy, any VAT that you pay in the cost of buying things that are related to your businesses is what I call, and is what is known as input VAT. Then output VAT is what you pay, what you charge your customers at the point of sale. So after you have bought everything you need to make a beautiful, a lovely dress for your customer, at the point of you now when the clothes is ready, you now charge you set a fee which your customer pays. You would have factored in all the expenses you incurred in coming up with that particular dress, and then what your customer is paying is you would have factored in all those things, and then output VAT will be included in what your customer eventually pays. VAT is paid ultimately by the final consumer of goods and services. Now, under the new reforms, let me just give a very practical illustration. If you buy, let's say, as a fashion designer, you buy items worth 10,000 naira, for instance, and then at the point of buying all those items, the VAT that you pay, which is 7.5 of 10,000, or let me say you buy everything worth 100,000 naira, and then the VAT that you pay at that time, at the point of purchasing those items meant for your business is 7.5% is 7,500 naira. So ultimately, what you are paying the sellers of the items you are buying is 107,500. And then at the point of selling, or let's just say at the end of the month, when you're calculating all the income you have made, all the services you have rendered to your customers, all the fees they have paid to you for all the services, all the clothes you have made for a particular month, let's say that the VAT that you collected all from every dress that you made, let's say you collect a VAT of 500,000 naira altogether as VAT for a particular month, and you have already spent 7.5 thousand naira to buy items at the point of producing your work, and then at the end of the month, the VAT that you collect for only VAT is 500,000 naira. Under the law now, you are now allowed to deduct that 7,500 naira that you paid in the course of purchasing items that you use to come up with the services that you are selling, the services that help you to make that 500,000 naira as VAT. You're supposed to, the law now the law now allows you to deduct the 7,500 naira that you paid earlier, and then what you now deduct, what you're paying to FRS as VAT for that particular month will now be 500,000 naira minus that 7,500 naira that you spent as VAT in purchasing items for your goods and services. Under the reforms, taxpayers also have a relief, an incentive of enjoying VAT refund within 30 days of application without prior audits. Now, there are times that taxpayers mistakenly overpay VAT to FRS. Let's say, like I just said, now that from next year, taxpayers will be allowed to deduct their input VAT from output VAT and then pay the balance to FRS. For taxpayers who may not be aware of this, who mistakenly pay everything to FRS and later come to realize that, I shouldn't have paid the input VAT, or I should have deducted my input VAT before paying to FRS. You have the right to apply to FRS, apply for a refund of that of the overpaid VAT, and FRS is now NRS from January 1st will now be mandated to give you a refund within 30 days of application. And this must be done without prior audits by FRS. FRS will not even need to ask you to bring your papers and give us evidence and all that. Once you apply, within 30 days of your application, it is your right to get a refund of overpaid VAT. And don't forget that from January 1st, you have the TAT to complain to. You also have the Office of the Tax Ombuds to complain to if at all NRS officials are performing below expectations. Then for small businesses, let me also emphasize, this is also good news for small businesses. Under the new reforms, small businesses are not, you are not mandated to actually charge VAT for your customers. So even though as a business owner, of course, you go out to buy things that will help you to produce your goods and services. But when people come to you to buy your own goods and services, as a small business owner, that's for those whose turnover is less than 100 million naira. Under the new laws from next year, you are not even obligated to even collect VAT from your customers. Please, let's get that point very clear. You are not mandated to charge VAT from your customers as a small business owners. This is totally different. It is a different scenario altogether for large companies. Large companies are mandated by law to charge VAT for their customers. But while this is more like a Greek gift given to us by the tax laws, while the law has said that you're not mandated as a small business owner, you're not mandated to charge VAT, to impose VAT on your services. You're also mandated as a small business owner. You're supposed to have what we call TIN or a tax ID. You're supposed to register for VAT, register for taxes in general. So as a business owner in Nigeria, it will be very, very unwise at this point to operate a business that's without having your tax ID or your TIN, as the case may be. So now, as long as you are operating a business in Nigeria, you have your business is formalized. You're supposed to, under the law, to register with either the FRS or with the State Inland Revenue Service where you belong, where your business is resident, is domiciled. You're supposed to register and obtain a tax ID. And this tax ID, and then even though the law does not actually mandate you as a small business owner to impose VAT on your goods and services, it will not be a bad idea to continually file VAT returns to FRS on a monthly basis, because you already have a tax ID. Even if you don't have it, it's very important for you to have a tax ID now. Register your business, obtain your tax IDs. It will be wise. That's my counsel. Obtain your tax ID and keep being faithful in filing your returns. Under the reforms, we have, like I said before, we have improved VAT refund system, and then government will set aside funds for VAT refund claims before sharing. I'm sure you know that every month, the 36 states, there's something called FAC, Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, that is held once every month, where the Minister of Finance for the Federation and the Commissioners of Finance of the 36 states of the country come together to basically share the revenue that they receive for a particular month. The federal government gets a percentage, the state governments get a percentage, the local governments get their own percentage. But before this sharing is done, before they share the VAT component that was received that is ready for sharing, the government will set apart a portion of it for refund. That is why I said that as a taxpayer, once you realize that you have overpaid FRS VAT in any way, immediately apply for a refund, and within 30 days, the law mandates us to refund you with the excess VAT. Government will set aside funds meant for VAT refund before sharing the balance to the 3 federating units. And then there's also a penalty for including blacklist. You could be blacklisted or you could be prosecuted for false or fraudulent VAT refund claims. Like I said before, now FRS has a duty to refund all claims for VAT refund prior to auditing. We will not ask you to bring any. We will not go into full auditing of your accounts before we refund. But when we later do our auditing and we realize that you falsely applied for a VAT refund, penalties will definitely follow. You could be blacklisted, you could be prosecuted, and that is not something I wish for anybody, because FRS will not be lenient with you. The law will take its full course where that happens. I must also emphasize at this point that under the new reforms, certain items are exempted from VAT. It's not only small businesses that are exempted from charging VAT or imposing VAT on their goods and services. Some categories of goods and services are also exempted from VAT. So whether you're a small company that is enjoying these services, whether you're an individual, whether you're a large company, it doesn't matter. Now, these items include goods for humanitarian, donor-funded projects, baby products. This one will interest us as women, of course. So any item that is for baby, any baby-related product is completely VAT exempt under the reforms. anything that relates to babies, baby milk, diapers, and all that, baby clothes, anything that is for babies are completely VAT exempted. And then sanitary products. Thank God I'm talking to women, and I know we also like this. Anything that is related to sanitary pads and all that for women is locally manufactured ones. I must emphasize at this point. So if you choose to, as a big girl, if you choose to buy foreign, if you choose to buy foreign sanitary towels, of course you expect to pay more, prepare to pay more. But if you use our humble sanitary products made in Nigeria, they are completely VAT free. So the prices are going to be the prices will definitely be lower because of that. Public transport services are VAT exempt, so there's no point. There's no that's already the case right now anyway. All forms of public transport services are VAT exempt. Lands, buildings, interest in land and buildings are all VAT exempt. Then we also have some items that are zero rated VAT. What this means is that you are paying VAT for them, but the VAT is at 0%. And we all know that 0 multiplied by any number still amounts to 0. So it's equally as good as saying that they are VAT exempt. Basic food items are all VAT exempt under the reforms. So any kind of basic food items of any kind that's in their natural states. I'm not saying that when you get to a restaurant to eat, and let's say you place your order, you want to eat rice, you want to eat chicken, you want salad and all that, bottled water, and then they give you a bill. If you check, if you're a very careful person, if you're observant, you will see where they write the bill. They'll spell out the bill in the breakdown in the receipt. You see where they write the bill. They'll state the amount for the bill of the food you ordered for. Then you see the VAT component in that receipt. So it doesn't mean that you go there and argue and say that, but I heard Barrister Chinwe said that basic food items are VAT exempt. No, we mean basic food items in their original form. That's when you go to the market, the open market from Iya Rashida, to buy 1 painter of rice, 1 painter of beans, 1 painter of amala. Iya Rashida does not have any business telling you that, okay, 1 painter of rice is 100 naira, but VAT is 7.5 naira. She doesn't have any business telling you that bread is 100 naira, but you must pay VAT. So basic food items are VAT exempt. All medical and pharmaceutical products and services are also VAT exempt under the law. Anything that relates to medicines and pharmaceutical products are VAT that you pay VAT at 0%, which amounts to not paying any VAT at all. Educational books and the educational materials, whatever relates to education, basically are also VAT, zero rated for VAT. And this the reasoning behind this is just to encourage this industry, to encourage the agriculture, encourage the medical and pharmaceutical sector, encourage education, and then fertilizers and medicinal herbs are also herbal products are also zero rated for VAT. You don't pay VAT on all these items. The list is long. Like I said, if you can see, check the slide very well, you can see that we have 13 classes of items that are exempt from VAT. And then we have items which are zero rated at VAT are over 18 classes. So you need to look at the law for yourself to look at the other categories of items that are completely where you don't need to pay VAT. Now, the impact of these reforms, the implications of these reforms for women-led businesses. This reform, like I said before, prior to the reforms, we had our tax laws scattered in various tax legislations. Even as a lawyer, if you had asked me before these reforms, how many laws we have in Nigeria, I cannot categorically tell you. I cannot tell you what law and I cannot tell you where to find what law, what taxes. But now, under the reforms, every kind of tax that is chargeable in Nigeria are now found in one document, which is the Nigerian Tax Act, as we said before. Now, the reforms have reduced, based on the reforms, we now have clearer and streamlined tax obligation. Once you pick, I will encourage you all to get familiarized with the provisions of these tax laws. They will help your businesses so that you know what you should do as a business owner, what you should not do, what tax to pay, and what taxes you should not pay. So that when all these what we call non-state actors, that's area boys, agberos, when they come to your shop to tell you, you should pay this, once having a firm knowledge of the law will help you stand your ground as a woman and say, no, you cannot cheat me anymore. I now know the laws that we have to pay in Nigeria as a small business owner. You cannot cheat me. You cannot impose a tax that is not written in any legislation in Nigeria. Now we now have clearer and streamlined tax obligations in one document, which is the Nigerian Tax Act. And then the reforms have reduced the payment of different taxes into one tax. Yes, women entrepreneurs will now understand exactly what taxes they owe, reducing fear and non-compliance mistakes. So you have to equip yourself to the right knowledge so that you know exactly what taxes to pay, and you will not fall victim to non-state actors who come to impose illegal taxes and levies and duties from you. Business, also, as I said before, I'll also encourage every business to register with CAC, FRS, or state IRS. Now, the fact that you just have a small salon, or you just have a small tailoring shop, or you just have a small provision store, so you feel that I'm too small to register for tax. In the future, it will be a serious disadvantage. You're cheating yourself. If you fail to formalize your business, you're actually cheating yourself. So encourage every woman on this platform, every business owner on this platform to register with the right body. It could be CAC, formalize your business, get the necessary papers that you need. With CAC, before I joined FRS, I had a case where a lady that I know, well known to me, she was involved in fashion design, and she had a name, she had a business name that she had been using for more than 4 or 5 years. And she had already built a large client base, and her clients already knew her with that name. So based on my own advice, but unfortunately for her business was not registered. She was just operating informally without any kind of registration, no papers whatsoever. So luckily for her, she took to my advice and tried to register her business name. But when we got to CAC, I conducted a search, and to my greatest shock, the name she has been using for years to operate her business was already being used by another business somewhere in Nigeria. So that name was rejected. Of course, she felt so depressed, but there was nothing she could do because somebody who is faster and smarter than her had already registered her business with the same name that she had been using for years informally. So if you operate, no matter how small you think your business is, I'll encourage you to, as soon as possible, register your business with CAC or come to FRS, obtain your tax ID with FRS or your state inland revenue services where your business is operating. And then I cannot even, at this point, I cannot overemphasize the importance of keeping records. It is for your own good, whether or not you're paying company income taxes as a small business owner, whether or not you're supposed to pay VAT, whether or not you're supposed to pay any kind of taxes whatsoever. It is important for you to also keep your records. One of the speakers before me talked about the importance of also, you cannot, women, we cannot do it alone, but you can also always outsource some of these services. The tax consultants are outside there. You can just liaise with one or two of them, tell them what you want, give them your bank statements, and then they will help you come up with, they'll help you basically formalize your businesses. They'll teach you how to go about keeping your records. So just contact, employ the services of tax consultants. They will help your business grow. And then what this will do for you, that formalizing your business will grant you, position you, put you in the right position to get access to loans, to grants, and to government supports. This particular government, President Tinubu's government, if you're conversant with the news, you know that once in a while they give out grants to businesses. They give out grants to to encourage businesses and to reduce the level of poverty in the land. But if you are just you don't have any papers, how do you even apply? Even if they say most times they'll have a dedicated website where they say business owners should apply for these grants or for these loans. Now you don't even have you don't have an RC number, you're not registered with CAC, you don't have a TIN, you don't have a tax ID. So how do you even access these grants that are being offered by governments? So I cannot emphasize again the need for you to register your business. It positions you puts you in the right position to access loans, access grants by governments, and access all the good support that the government gives. And then it also puts you in a very good position to work with large companies. Now, like I said before, small companies with 100 million naira and below turnover annually are completely exempted from paying from paying company income taxes. But large companies who make over 100 million naira annually are supposed to pay tax at the rate of 30% of their profits. And then they are also supposed to register for VAT, and they're supposed to also impose VAT on their own goods and services because they are the big boys. Now, the big boys, sometimes they may have need to do businesses with small owners. One very good illustration of this is that we're gradually approaching Christmas. Some of these big companies will want to maybe provide hampers to their faithful customers who just appreciate them. Don't need to buy, we are women, we know what we usually see in hampers, good hampers. You see beverages, you see bottles of wine, you see biscuits, you see chocolates, you see toiletries. And most of these things are gotten from small companies. But no large company, I can bet you, no large company will want to do business with a small company who does not have any formal means of identification for tax purposes, who cannot even offer a receipt. Because those large companies, they are big on record keeping. They will not spend 1 kobo of their naira without documenting it somewhere for tax purposes because they are basically the big boys. Now, no large company will come and do business with you as a small business owner where they know that you're not registered. You cannot even give them any receipt to show their own as a proof of their own expenditure. So, as a small business owner, I'll encourage you again practically to register with the relevant tax authority if you're not already registered. Record keeping requirements. The reforms, as I've said before, the reforms encourage small businesses to keep records of all their income and expenditure. There's something FRS has recently introduced, which is called e-invoicing. Although for now, it is being introduced in phases. For now, we have only onboarded the large companies. Small companies are yet to be onboarded into the e-invoicing platform. The reforms encourage electronic e-invoicing. So as a small business owner, if you're not registered, if your activities are not formalized or digitized, when it is time to onboard small companies into the e-invoicing platform, as a small business owner, you will be at a very, very serious disadvantage. So the earlier you step up your game, the better for you. The reforms also encourage companies to keep digital receipts. Gradually, we are doing away with paper, anything that has to do with paper. The world is going digital and FRS is not left behind. So the keeping of digital receipts is being encouraged. Proper bookkeeping habits are encouraged. Timely returns. Like I said, as a small business owner, even though the law says you should not charge VAT, you should not impose VAT on your clients or your customers, as the case may be, you still have a duty, I would advise, to register for taxes and then keep filing your returns to FRS. Just keep filing because ultimately in the law, there's penalties for late payments and late filing. There are penalties for late filing of returns. Where you default in paying your taxes on time, penalties are bound. Where you default in even filing return, even if you have zero VAT to report, keep reporting to us every month that in the month of January this year, I did this business, I had this, I did this, and I got zero. I did not impose VAT to any customer, so I have zero VAT to remit to FRS for the month of January. In February, even if it's still zero, still just keep reporting it, keep filing your returns. And then the incentives that are available to be enjoyed by small business owners under the reforms is that, as I just emphasizing what I said earlier, income tax exemptions. That's for the first, like I said, instead of 300,000 naira, it has been increased to 800,000 naira. So the first 800,000 naira of your income on an annual basis is now tax exempt. We now have simplified VAT rules and then lighter compliance burdens. The FRS is not here to make your burdens heavier. Our processes are very, very easy now. From the comfort of your home, from wherever you are in the world, from your phone, you can file your return. Once you have, that's why I'm stressing the importance of registering for taxes with FRS. You have your tax ID. So what you need to do in FRS, we have an app called the Tax Pro Max. You log into the app every month, file your returns. Even if you have no profit, just keep updating your records with tax promas on a monthly basis. It lightens your tax burdens, your compliance burdens, and then ultimately more money is saved. Like when you see that as a small business owner, you're not paying, you're free from VAT, and you're also free from company income tax to a very large you're not paying company income tax at all. And then your own, for as a person, maybe your own salary, assuming you're on a salary, the first 800,000 naira of your salary is tax free. Ultimately, you will realize that you're saving more money, which money that you're saving can be plowed back into your business in form of investments, and ultimately your business will grow. We're still talking about practical steps that you can take as a business owner to comply with the tax laws. Register with the relevant tax authority, maintain your records. I'll keep saying it over and over again. Maintain your records, no matter how small you think you are. The young can grow. The biggest companies that you see today in Nigeria and Africa, most of them started very small. Most of them started as they were once in the position that you are in today, but today look at where they are. Now, assuming they started small like you, and then they were just haphazard in the activities, they didn't have a structure. Ms. Titi talked about the importance of having structure, importance of having businesses that will outlive you in the event that your life here on earth is cut short. What happens after you go? So that's another reason why it is important to maintain your records on a daily, weekly, monthly, and annual basis. Keep your receipts, very important. Keep your receipts and your proof of transactions. Then issue invoices, collect VAT when required. That's if you are supposed to collect VAT, collect. If your business falls under the threshold to collect VAT, collect. Then reconcile your bank accounts monthly. I'm giving you practical tips on which you can use as a small business owner to comply with the new tax laws. Reconcile your bank accounts monthly, file your tax returns as and when due, use digital payments. As much as possible, avoid the use of paper. Anything can happen to paper evidence. There can be a fire outbreak, there can be burglary, anything can happen, and then you are back to ground zero. But when you have digital evidence of your activities, it's safer for you, your heart can be at peace. And then, as I said before, consult a tax advisor when necessary. The bigger picture now, let's look at the bigger picture on how we can unlock the economic potential of women. These reforms are not merely about taxes. They're not merely about taxes, they're just more, the government is just out to see how they can give us an enabling environment to thrive as business owners. The reforms are about economic growth. They are aimed at unlocking women's entrepreneurial potential, driving inclusive national development. These reforms are all about encouraging sustainability of your businesses. What happens after when you are no more? What happens? How do you sustain your business to stop it to prevent it from crashing? Nigeria, whether I want to we admit it or not, Nigeria's business climate is quite harsh. And for women, we are at a disadvantage. So what can you do to sustain your businesses? These reforms have a lot of things that you can do, have introduced a lot of things that you can do to sustain your business. Women entrepreneurs are empowered to create jobs, lift families, and strengthen communities in the long term. Like they say, when you empower a man, you empower just an individual. But when you empower a woman, you're empowering a nation. So the reforms are all about empowering female entrepreneurs, creating jobs, lifting families, and strengthening communities in the long term. Now, equity and dignity. Gender-sensitive tax policies have been introduced, even as up to on the global scale. For instance, the United Nations has what we call SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and I think goals 5, 8, and 10 have to do with equality, gender equality, and part of which includes equality of taxes. The UN has caught the vision already and is already running with it on how to make women as equal, give women the same opportunities that their male counterparts enjoy. So these reforms in Nigeria are also striving to get to that point ultimately. This brings me to the end of my presentation. The Reform Act, like I said, They represent government's step, government's intention, and it is indeed a significant step towards creating a more equitable fiscal system. By addressing gender disparities and supporting women-led businesses, these reforms have the potential to uplift millions of Nigerian women. I want us to keep advocating for policies that recognize and empower women within a fair economy. And as your theme for this year's Women Entrepreneurship Day says, together we build. So as women, I want to encourage us to keep let's keep supporting ourselves as women. Sometimes the male folk, they don't really send us, as we say in local parlance. So as a woman, it is just us against the world. So let's keep doing our bits to see how we can support our businesses to grow better. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Barrister Chinwe Uzoma. Please put your hands together for her. I think she did so much justice to the conversations. We have a lot of questions, but because our time is fast spent, we're going to select a few that we're going to take. Maybe outside of this session, we can then have a concise response to the questions and then we can share. But we will be asking a few of them. And I think a few things I picked from your conversation. I feel like it's very commendable that we're restructuring 50 fragmented tax laws into 4, which makes it even easy to remember, and it makes payment even easier for the business owners. And it is very commendable that small businesses are going to be exempted. I'm sure that our women are very happy to hear that. And the fact that small businesses are not even charging VAT means that there's a possibility that people would want to, patronize them better, and that would then promote made in Nigeria products. And so we really appreciate the time you have taken to, enlighten us on this conversation. We have a few questions, like I said, and I'd just like you to quickly address them because of the time, the short time frame that we have. First question we'll take. This person says, the tax exempt with a salary of less than 800,000 naira. Is it monthly salary or annual salary? I want to believe this is monthly salary.
No,
That is
no, it can't be monthly. No, it's not monthly. It's annually. It's annually. It's
Okay.
annually. Yes. Yes.
Oh, great. So for the person who has asked that question,
So,
it's annually.
what this means in essence is that just divide just divide 800,000 naira into 12. That's what then whatever result you get is what what, let's say I'm not a mathematician, I'm a lawyer. So let's just say is 80,000 naira, for instance. That is the monthly breakdown of the 800,000 naira annual exemption. It means that if you're earning, let's say, 100,000 naira monthly, the first 80,000 naira is tax free. The remaining 20,000 naira that you earn monthly will be taxed. So you have very minimal tax to pay.
Oh, great. Okay, Thank you so much. So that leads me to the question on how do we file taxes ourselves?
Okay, we have for FRS, for one thing you need to know is that FRS or NRS from January 1st, we only collect taxes from companies, basically. As an individual, the question is not really clear, so I'll just speak in general terms. If you're talking about income tax for business, FRS only collects taxes from registered companies. We don't deal with business names. We don't deal with small enterprises. Those are left for the state inland revenue services to collect. We only collect taxes from duly registered large companies, and then from some certain category of individuals, like people in the armed forces, the army, and for foreign diplomats. They are the only individuals that FRS collects income taxes from. We collect at company income taxes, and the income taxes from selected individuals. So as an individual, if you want to file your tax, you are supposed to just go to your states, and that falls outside the purview of FRS. Basically, is for the state inland revenue to handle. So I cannot speak for them.
All right.
But
So the person who is asking,
I believe that it shouldn't be a very cumbersome thing to do.
Process.
Like for FRS, let me use FRS as an example. For companies who want to pay their taxes by themselves, like I said, you can do it for the comfort of your home. So long as you are digitized, you are registered for VAT, you have your TIN, you have what Nigerians call TIN number. which by the way means tax identification number. So when you're saying TIN number, it's like a duplication. It's actually you either say tax identification number, you say TIN. Stop saying TIN number. I have to say that. So if you want to pay your taxes, just log into Tax Pro Max app, key in your TIN, and then all your details, your records are there already. So it's easy, just like the way we use our normal banking apps. It's very easy to navigate through. It's easy to navigate through our Tax Pro Max app.
Okay, thank you so much. I think this leads me to the next question. This person says, I have TIN for my business name and I also have a tax ID with LIRS. Do I still need to register for a tax ID for my personal bank account?
No, you don't. I'm glad she asked. That's a very brilliant question. Now, there's been a lot of misinformation lately about the fact that from January 1st, if you don't have a TIN or you don't have a tax ID, you cannot open your banks, your accounts will be blocked, your monies will be frozen and all that. Now, if as a business owner if your business has a tax ID as of today, and you as an individual has a tax ID, then you have nothing to fear. Those that should be afraid for now, of between now and those that will be caught up by the law, are those that by January 1st have never registered for VAT before, do not have a TIN of any kind. So if as a business owner you have a personal TIN and you have another TIN for your business, you are not going to be affected in any way. There will be a transition done automatically for you by the relevant tax authority. The person that asked the question is talking about LIRS. So by January, when the new laws become into force, there will just be an automatic transition from the TIN, that's TIN, to tax ID. They'll generate it for you automatically, and you get to know it with time. So you have nothing to fear, so long as you have.
So for new organizations that, like you just mentioned, that they may be at the other side of the law, if they do not have TIN, how do they get their TIN?
They should just go to the nearest inland revenue of where they are domiciled, and it's very easy. They'll just get a TIN at no cost. It's free. A tax ID at no cost. Yes, and the earlier they do that, the better, because from January 1, ignorance of the law will not be an excuse for anybody.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So you've heard that. If you do not have TIN for your business, kindly make sure to get that before 1st of January 2026. I think we have a few more questions for you. What is the fate of those that operate their businesses under CAC registered business names, not as limited liability companies?
They still fall, so long as you're not a company. Like I said before, you still fall within the purview of state inland revenue services. FRS only deals with companies that are duly registered with CAC. So if you're a business name, if you're operating as a business name or as an enterprise, you still fall under the control of the inland revenue the tax authority of the state from where you're operating your business.
Okay.
So you still have to go to them and then do all you're supposed to do on that in line with the law.
All right. So this person wants you to clarify. So she says, whenever I go to the supermarket to get some groceries, I notice in the receipt that a certain amount is for VAT. Please, who pays the VAT, me or the supermarket owner?
VAT is paid by the final consumer, you that is buying, the person purchasing, the person that will enjoy the services is the person that is paying for VAT, not the supermarket owner.
Okay, so the person that is enjoying the services is
the goods of the services. The
pay.
VAT, so long as they are VATable items. Remember, I talked about certain items that are completely exempted from VAT. So long as those items that you're purchasing are VATable, you that is consuming them are the one paying the VAT for those items.
Okay, thank you so much, Barrister Uzoma. I think I'll take one more question. This person is asking about VAT output for small businesses. Are there any rebate?
For small, like I said before, small businesses don't have any business with VAT. The law has completely exempted them. It is only when they climb the threshold and get into the league of playing with the big boys, in quotes, that they can now, but there's no rebate. They still have to, what if you are buying from a big company? You cannot tell the big company that I'm a small company, so I will not pay VAT on what I'm buying from you. You will still you will still have to pay VAT for what you're purchasing from this large company, from whoever it is. So there's no rebate per se for small companies in terms of output VAT.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Barrister Uzoma. And
I'll
I
be a
think
doctor
that
soon. You just said
there
it.
are quite a number of write-ups that we can also still read more to get more information. I believe that your website is also open for people to visit and get more information. Is that correct?
Very correct. And then you can also send in, if you have any further inquiries related to the tax reforms, you can send your questions. My division has a dedicated email address, ftrid@frs.gov.ng. ftrid@frs.gov.ng. So send as many questions as possible as you have in any area of tax law where you have issues. My team and I will respond to it in real time.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A very big thank you to our powerhouse speakers for those insightful and truly empowering presentations. Thank you very much, Idi Oshitoke. I see that you're still here with us. We really appreciate your time. And so I want to believe that everybody on this call has gotten a lot of information today, from talking about building lasting businesses to, understanding the new tax landscape. The session has given both inspiration and the practical clarity that we need to grow stronger, to grow smarter, and also to have more sustainable businesses. And I hope that each of us is leaving with a renewed direction, a deeper understanding, and then actionable steps that we can begin to implement immediately. Thank you so much. And as we wrap up the session, we would like to take the closing remarks from the group head of the women banking team here at Access Bank. Please welcome with me Nene Kunle Ogunlusi. Hi, Nene, are you around?
Yes. Good evening, Ife. Thank you so much. Is my video on?
Not yet.
I think it's, fantastic.
Oh, great.
It's
We can
on.
see you now.
Oh, sorry. The power just went off here. I'm so sorry. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies. I don't know if you can see me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Can you see me?
We cannot see you.
It will come up soon. Unfortunately, sorry, power went off where I am.
Oh, no, not a problem. Just go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, today. What an insightful session we've had here today, and truly that's what we do at the W Initiative of Access Bank. We inspire, we connect, and we empower women to thrive in their local communities. And I want to express a deep thank you to everyone who has joined us here today. You are truly the MVPs. Sorry, I'm up now. Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate you for joining us here today. We're grateful that you've made time to join us in this very important conversation on growing your business and understanding the new tax law. Special thank you to our distinguished Mrs. Titi Oshintoki, who has today not only given us practical steps to grow our businesses, but also shown us through icons, examples like Oprah Winfrey, Ibukun Awoshika that we can follow. She has also charged us to build businesses that would last and be example to the next generation of women who are coming up. And really, truly, that's what we do. We always encourage women to grow businesses. So you can also pull other women who are coming up behind us. I also want to express our thank you to Barrister Chinwe Uzoma, who has taken time to simplify and break down the new tax law. I believe we are all better equipped here today, and we have better understanding of the new tax law of this Tinubu's regime. I encourage every woman. The video for today's webinar is on YouTube. You can go back to it, listen over and over for your business, the tips, the practical tips that have been shared, and then for tax too. There was something Chinwe said, good news. Businesses below 300,000 who make below 300,000 turnover, you're not going to be paying tax. You're tax exempt from January next year. But then you must have the proper knowledge and you must have the proper documentation ready so that when people come, the tax people come to your office, you should be able to show them the right documents and say, oh, I know, I'm aware, this is what I'm supposed to pay, and I've kept the proper record. Yeah, we always encourage women to open business accounts. I know there's a temptation to always do business in your personal name, but right now we all know from January, we cannot escape tax, and that's why we've done this session, so you are better informed. And so between now and January, you encourage, tidy up your books, put your books together, whatever things you need to do, do it now and January. So come 1st of January, you are better equipped for the next tax regime. But it's not all bad news. She has told us if we're earning below 100 million annually, we're tax exempt, and that's good news. And even for those personal income tax that you're earning below 800,000 annually is also tax exempt. Those are good news that we've been able to hear today. I would also encourage everyone here today to follow us on our social media platforms. We share a lot of knowledge, a lot of information on our social media platform. Be a part of a community. Every woman in business needs to be a part of a community, and the W initiative of Access Bank is a vibrant community of women in business, women who are in family, Gen Zs, that would give you the relevant information and the relevant networking opportunities. I also want to encourage everyone to get our W card. For everyone who has an account with Access Bank, we have the W card, which is an identifier for every female customer of the bank. We want to be able to walk into the store and see you and wave. Oh, you're part of us. That's what we're looking at. So when you walk into any branch of the bank and they give you a white card, just politely say, I am a W woman. Could you please give me the W card? Because I want to be identified as a W woman, and I want to be able to recognize other W women when I get to the store to pay with my card. And I trust me, it is a very fanciful card just for women. Let me also use this opportunity to introduce our invite you all to our next webinar, which is coming up on the 27th. We're going to be talking to the women in Agric. What we're doing this end of year is to prepare women, because I know people are already taking stock and preparing for next year. We want to be able to equip you. So we're having a webinar on Agric, taking your business, giving you the details to enable your business thrive locally and expand globally. I encourage everyone to join on the 27th, next week, Thursday. Join the webinar next week, Thursday, just like this one, is going to be very inspiring and empowering. Thank you so much once again. Happy Women Entrepreneurship Day. Keep thriving, keep doing well, and special thanks to Ife Olua, who has steered this conversation with so much clarity and energy. Thank you, Ife. Well done. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Nene. She is the group head of the women banking team here at Access Bank. And as she has rightly said, we have curated another beautiful webinar for you next week, Thursday by 4 p.m. And it is tagged Beyond Borders, Positioning Women Agripreneurs for global markets. And I'm sure that you do not want to miss that. So please make it a date with us once again, like you did today. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And for everyone who has stayed with us until now, do not just take notes, but you need to take action. Let today be that moment when you stop playing small and you start thinking of building a legacy. And we are here as the W Initiative to help you on that journey. So till we see you next time, thank you so much for joining us, and stay informed, stay intentional, and stay building. My name is Ifeoluwa Omoto. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, Ife.
Thank you, ma'am.